glad you could all make it to our student panel tonight. So I guess to start, it would be good to just have each of our panelists do a little introduction. I guess I'll go first. So we could probably say like name, major, minors, class year, hometown, anything you're involved in on campus. If you want to throw a fun fact or anything like that in there, you can feel free. So I'm Tyler Shadle. I am actually a recently changed to double major in music and theater performance. So that's exciting. I am graduating, not this coming spring, but in the spring of 2022. I come from my hometown of Tower City, Pennsylvania, which is kind of near Harrisburg, only about an hour south of Susquehanna. A big thing I'm involved in is the a cappella group on campus, Harmonic Combustion. I spend a lot of time doing some stuff for that. I'm also in like lots of theater productions and that kind of stuff. I give tours through the student ambassador program, TA some classes, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'll just go in the order of the screen. Rachel, would you want to go next quick?
Sure. So I'm Rachel. I'm a senior finance major. My hometown is Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and then some things I'm involved in on campus. I'm in Kappa Delta sorority. I'm a Barron student ambassador. I'm the senior class treasurer, and I also work in the finance office. That's just a little bit.
Devon, would you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Devon Tory. I am a junior here at Susquehanna University. I am a double major in journalism and creative writing. I grew up in Columbia, Maryland, but I was born in Hillside, New Jersey. And I am a senior community assistant for the Office of Residence Life. I'm the productions director for our radio station WQSU. I do a lot of things in creative writing. I'm the managing editor of design for The Quill, our student-ran school newspaper. I'm part of the Mentor Collective for Susquehanna as well, and I'm also a teaching assistant.
And then Caroline.
Hi everyone, I'm Caroline. I'm a junior from Ellicott City, Maryland, which isn't too far away from Columbia, where Devon said he was growing up in. I'm an education major, early childhood, and I'm also a studio art minor. I'm a student ambassador with Tyler. We work in admissions together, and along in admissions, I'm also the athletic coordinator on the leadership team, which is a extra bonus, I guess, for admissions work. But I'm also involved in a service group called Enactus. I'm a project manager, which works with special needs kids from the local life skills classroom. And I'm also part of the Mentor Collective for first year students on campus. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, as Ruben was saying, our attendees, if at any point any question pops in your head, you can feel free to put any in the chat. Otherwise, we'll just kind of have our little conversation going, and hopefully that'll give you some good insight to what it's like to be a Susquehanna student as well. Something that just popped into my head when we were all kind of introducing ourselves is just the fact that it seems like a lot of us are pretty busy. So would you guys want to share at all about what it's like being involved in so many different things on campus, maybe how you are able to manage that and some benefits of being able to be so involved? Anyone have any initial thoughts on that?
I'd be happy to start that off. I forgot to mention that I'm in 2 sports teams. Just another thing, but I play soccer and I swim here at Susquehanna. So when it comes to scheduling, I do like to keep myself busy, but it is possible to be involved in so many things on campus, which is great. As long as you keep your time and have a schedule for yourself, it's essentially easy to be involved because you can continue all the interests that you were doing in high school in college, if that's something that you're interested in. And there's so many opportunities on campus with clubs and with them meeting around your class schedule or your athletic schedule. It is possible to be involved in more than one thing on campus, which is really great.
Rachel or Devon, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would just say definitely the busier I got during college helped with my time management skills and also keeping up with my schoolwork more. So I felt like when I had too much downtime is when I would procrastinate my work more. So I think it's almost better to be busy, but in stages, like don't take on too much all at once.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Devon, you can go quick.
I was gonna say, yeah, I totally agree. It's just like, especially when you're busy with things that you're very much interested in, it doesn't feel like busy work at all. You're just doing the things that you love, and you kind of just go through the day loving what you're doing and appreciating everybody that helps you and you're surrounded with, and it's a great time. So yeah, keeping a schedule and doing what you love is wonderful.
That like hit home for me because like today's been such like a crazy day for me. There's like so much going on and I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing this, but like it's nice because like it's all stuff I like really enjoy personally. So it's like I definitely relate to what you were saying, Devon. But yeah, thank you everyone. And I guess I'll get started with some other questions. So what would be, if you want to say one or if you want to say more than one that comes to mind, a memorable out of class experience? So maybe it's something you did with friends or through a club, or maybe you went somewhere off campus with a club, something like that. Anything memorable that has had an impact on you in your years at SU so far. And anyone can just jump in if you have any.
Okay, I have one. So my sophomore year, they took a bunch of the finance majors to a CFA Institute event. So we like there was like 10 of us. We got to go with two professors, and then they also took us to one of our professors' restaurants on the way home. So that was a really good experience, and it made me a lot more friends. So taking advantage of the trips that the school offers to do things like that is good learning wise, networking wise, and also like you make a lot of friends that you wouldn't otherwise. So I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, Rachel. Devon, did you have something?
Yeah, I would say one thing would be Candlelight, which is an event that we usually have in December. I don't know about this year, but we're working on it. I was part of the American Sign Language Club, and what we would do at Candlelight is sign Silent Night, which is very, it's not like a super intensive song, but it's something that I've come to love over the years because I've always wanted to learn sign language instead of taking like a regular language, and doing that and being able to help a community of deaf people trying to understand the song and also go to a big event on campus was really like cathartic and really nice to see in the community. So yeah.
I'll add a little tidbit going off of what Devon said. My favorite thing on campus is another tradition. In addition to candlelight, we also have a Thanksgiving dinner, and it's in our cafeteria, and everyone goes. It's a little dressy. I guess everyone looks very nice and presentable. And our President Green, who is amazing, will come and do a prayer for us, and you just share a meal of your friends. It's like a Friendsgiving at the caf. It's really fun, and I look forward to it every year usually. But hopefully we can do it again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I love like all the different kinds of traditions we have at SU. There's so many great ones, whether it's Thanksgiving, they have midnight calf they usually have when finals are occurring, where it's like our main dining hall is open like pretty late and they have all like the nice comfort foods. You can just go forget about your studies for a little bit. It's super nice. I guess for one of my memorable experiences is with the a cappella group I had mentioned. We got to compete in it's called the ICCA's, the International Championship for Collegiate A Cappella. We did that for the first time this past spring. It's actually like the competition circuit that's in Pitch Perfect, the movie. So we got to go to like Westchester, and the whole day just seemed like a dream because like we all got our own mic and it was like the loudest like sound, but in like the best way possible. And it was just so nice because like our group was like in the past year so used to like performing on campus, but like now we're starting to like branch out and getting to do something like that. We actually like placed like third place out of like 10 groups with our like first time competing. So it was super fun and it'll be a day I'll never forget. So that was awesome. But yeah, thank you everyone. So I guess I'll keep going down because I don't think we have any questions in the chat just yet. No. So do you have any, now we talked about outside of the classroom, let's talk more about inside of the classroom. Do you have any memorable like hands-on academic experiences? Maybe like, because like at some schools or in some classes you might have lots of like lecture-based stuff, but like I know especially through like education and like research programs in the science department, lots of students get to do lots of hands-on activities pretty much in all the departments in some way or another. So does anyone have anything they want to share about any of those kinds of experiences?
So you mentioned education. I'm an early childhood education major. We have a preschool right on campus. It's located right behind our admissions building. If you take a tour sometime, maybe you guys can see it. I see that Hannah is interested in possibly doing education. So I'm not sure if it's the early levels, but if so, there is a preschool on campus, which provides amazing opportunities for you to do service learning in the preschool, and it's not a walk at all. I really loved being in the Head Start classroom. I spent 30 hours there last semester. Even after my service learning hours were done, I kept going back because I got so attached to the kids. But it's really nice to have that on-campus experience still. Like, I don't have a car, so I don't drive to my observation hours. But even when I go to the elementary school, it's only about a 12 to 15-minute walk. And that's just another great chance for me to have a hands-on learning. I get to be with the teacher and the kids right in person. I've done a read aloud activity, which was a great practice source. And just doing little steps to build up to your student teaching experience is really great. So then you're prepared for when you're doing the real thing.
Devonne or Rachel, do you have anything?
So for finance, one of the hands-on things we can do, right now we have the River Hawk Fund class. So that's where our alumni donate money for us to invest. So we actually get to invest like real money in this class. We do all the research and use our Bloomberg terminals to make decisions based off investing. So if that's something you're interested in, it's a fun thing to do. Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about this one. I think the most funnest thing you learn, because again, I'm a journalism major, which kind of feeds into communications. So learning how to really work like audio equipment and video equipment, I did a lot of that for one of my professors, John Foltz. He sets up for like the football games and the basketball games, and learning how that equipment works was really kind of fun, at least in my opinion. It's not necessarily like a class thing, but I mean, if you're taking communications, you will most likely be involved in a sort of like extracurricular type activity where you're like learning how to set up lights or camera or learn how to video edit and things like that. So yeah, it's fun.
Now, Caroline, I noticed you had mentioned a little bit about service, and I know we like to say our three pillars here at SU are achieve, lead, and serve. So I was wondering if any of you have any like service opportunities you've gotten to go like get involved in on campus that are memorable or that you feel would be good to share. I know they do a lot of like service work in some of like the fraternities and sororities through like Greek life. There's different like service organizations and stuff like that as well. But yeah, I didn't know if any of you might have anything for that.
So I know for me with my sorority, we work with the Girl Scouts. So that's always a fun thing we get to do. They come to campus to us and like we get to do different activities and spend time with them. So it is technically service, but it doesn't like it's a fun thing to do. We have that. And then also our freshman weekend where we do the SU serve. I know I went to a church my freshman year and we helped clean everything up. So, and it makes good memories and new friendships. So it's always fun to do.
I think that service has just become part of everyone who's at Susquehanna. I do service learning as like observation hours in my education classes. Like what Rachel said, doesn't feel like service. Like I love doing it. And then for my sports teams, we do service events. We traveled to Argentina last summer with my soccer team, and my favorite day there was when we were working with a local soccer club, and it was just really a great experience, very memorable. And then even on campus, the soccer and swim team are constantly doing Special Olympics service clinics, or we're helping out with the local area. But it's just really worked into what you do at Susquehanna. I joined a service club, and I love working with the life skills classroom at the Selinsgrove High School. So if service is something that you're interested in, Susquehanna is absolutely the right place to look at because it's part of everyone here.
I guess one quick thing I'll mention is the radio station, WQSU. We do a lot of service activities as well. One big thing that I can think of is our Toys for Tots drive, where we would collect toys across campus to donate to children around Selinsgrove and the neighboring areas as well. We would actually go and like package toys, like give them like little gift bags and put like toys that they would actually want in their bags and kind of just distribute them, which is also just a really, really nice service thing as well. So yeah, a lot of service opportunities.
This
Tyler,
actually
did
kind
you
of
see
ties
the?
into. Oh, sorry, Caroline, do
I
that.
was gonna ask if you saw the question in the chat about our
Yes,
freshman
I was
orientation.
actually about to just get
Okay,
to that.
great.
This actually ties into that pretty well because what Rachel was saying about the one service opportunity during first year orientation we have, it's called SU Give, and pretty much all of the first year class gets the opportunity to like go into the surrounding communities and different like organizations and businesses and do service projects for like 2 to 3 hours. So it's always like a super great time because not only are you getting to meet so many new people in your class, but you're also as a collective getting so many like service hours done at the exact same time. I know my first year, I went to a children's museum in Lewisburg and we helped them like clean up their like courtyard, like pulling weeds and stuff. And like, since we had like a decent group of people, it was like so awesome to like see like the difference we made in like just a few short hours in terms of like how everything looked. And we went to like a retirement home my second year when I was a member of the O team, which is the orientation team. So yeah, I guess we could probably talk a little bit about the orientation experience. And then also we can talk a little bit more about how roommates and housing work as well. Those are, we can probably talk about those two separately. So how many, I know I was on the orientation team and a few of you have been on the O team as well, correct? Caroline, were you? Were you not? Devon, were you?
I was not, but I'm closely involved. It happens during RA training, so.
Uh-huh. And Rachel, you weren't, were you? Oh, okay. I just thought I saw you guys around during orientation. But yeah, we have a group called O Team who kind of like facilitates a lot of the orientation experience. Essentially, we have like a summer orientation program called Preview Days where you'd come like maybe one day during the summer just to kind of like learn more about what to expect in the fall, maybe get a little more familiar with like your professors, the campus and stuff like that, maybe get to meet some friends. I know some of my friends that I'm close with now are people I got the opportunity to meet during Preview Days. But that's during the summer, and then you'd have your actual like full-on orientation. You'd come typically the Thursday before classes when it would start. So it would mainly be your first years on campus that Thursday, and then into the weekend, and then the rest of the upperclassmen would come and move in on the weekends. But yeah, there's lots of different sessions where you get to learn more about like the resources you have on campus. You get to meet so many new people. There's tons of like fun events at night. We usually do like a fun like first night activity where you just kind of get to like see how many similarities you have with all the other people in your class. We usually have this activity called Play Fair where you get to meet so many other people and it's a very similar thing. Usually it's actually in person at the football field, but the organization is through. They found like a cool way to do it online this year through Zoom with like altering the settings and stuff like that. So there's always so many different kinds of fun events that help you to get kind of familiar with all the other people in your incoming class. Do any of you have anything you want to add about like your personal orientation experience or anything like that? If not, that's totally fine too.
I mean, like when I did it, it was pretty cool. It's actually a really nice time, and that's where I got to meet most of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody else has anything to say about orientation experience, I can talk about how roommates are assigned. And
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you'd be a good person for that. So.
Yeah, I've worked with Residence Life for 2 years now. I started as an RA, and then this year I'm an SCA, which is a person that is in charge of the RAs. So how roommates are assigned. Before you come to campus, you get a survey. You fill out that survey, and then through Residence Life, we would try to find you a most compatible roommate as well. You are also able to choose your roommate through this service. We call it housing self-service. And then housing is, there are three main kind of types of dorms. It's first year housing, independent living, and then senior living, where it's first year housing is that you're in a dorm, usually with a roommate, unless you have special accommodations. Independent housing is you can live in a suite that'll have like a kitchen and a living room, things like that. And then senior housing is just also kind of like the same as a suite, but you get you can live on 18th Street where you have like a backyard, not backyard, but like, a little area behind your house and things like that. So it kind of just goes up in different steps, and it'll be great as you learn more about it.
A really cool thing about 18th Street too, or 18th Street Commons, is that like I would say, I haven't lived there myself, but from what it seems like, I feel like it would almost seem like off-campus living in a way, even though it is through the university, because you do have that housing guaranteed all 4 years. And it's super nice to have that full kitchen available too, that is in all of the 18th Street apartments. That way, you can get used to more of an independent style of living before you'd possibly have to graduate and do it for real, you know? And that's a nice thing too. They have like a special like senior and like commuter meal plan where maybe like it could be potentially less to pay. That way you could utilize that full kitchen to your advantage, which is super nice. But yeah, thanks Devon for helping us talk a little bit about residence life. We also have like a lot of cool like we have them. They're called student created communities where students can like live around like a central theme. I'm actually living in one right now with a bunch of my friends. It's for mental health awareness, so we get to like live together in a suite. But it's also like we get to host events around that theme. I believe there's usually one for like ASL, American Sign Language, as Devon had mentioned. There's me and a few, or not me, a few of my friends are involved in like an orchestra house. My roommate from my first year is involved in one for like gaming, or at least he was last year. So tons of different opportunities to maybe live in an area with your friends, but also around a common interest. But yeah, we can go on to another question. So this is very broad, but what are classes like? Maybe that be in terms of size, relationship with professors, maybe how you would be able to interact with like tutors and TAs, that kind of stuff. So yeah, very broad, but any insight I'm sure will be helpful.
So Susquehanna has a central curriculum. That means that you're going to take classes that are outside of your direct major, which is a good thing. And this gives you a more rounded focus on education as a whole. I know for my central curriculum classes, which were like history, psychology, math, language, those were larger in class size because there are more students who are first year students or second year students who are taking those classes. My largest class was history and it had 32 kids. I remember that because my senior year calculus class in high school was 45 kids. So I was like, wow, this is great. I'm getting so much attention. And as for the smallest class size that I've ever had, I'm currently taking science methods and I am one of 6 kids in the class. So it's actually really nice. I'm getting to know my teacher extremely well. He's the head of the department, so not a bad person to have liking you. But class sizes tend to be, at least I can speak for the education classes, around like 15 to 20 people for a typical class. Sometimes less, I would say more so less than more. But your professor relationships are going to just improve from the smaller classes, but you will still have it when they're larger as well because the professors are really open to talking to you.
I would just add to that to say like the professors are super easy to talk to and like are very welcoming with their office hours and everything. I know my one professor, I've had him for 4 classes now, so it's easy to get to know professors and they want you to learn and succeed. Like no one wants you to not learn. So everyone I've had a class with has always like gone out of their way to help you if you ask for it. So I like that a lot.
I wish I had more to say, but really it's just classes are a lot different right now because most of them are either online, fully online, or a hybrid of both, online and in person. But for the most part, yeah, like teachers are super, super welcoming, super friendly. They want you to succeed and they want you to do the best that you can do in any situation. And they're always there to help you. I've never met a teacher that has never had their door open to helping somebody at any point. So it's really refreshing. So yeah.
I feel like I can see like all of us like nodding because we're just like all in agreement. Um, yeah, definitely a lot with what Caroline was saying. I can relate to like my biggest class was probably around 30. I've also had a class like last year as small as 5 people in the major specific. So it's great to have those connections with your professors. And like what Rachel and Devon were saying, they're always going to go above and beyond to make sure every single student is succeeding. I know at a lot of schools, like you might be able to say you're just a number, but that's not the case at all whatsoever at Susquehanna. Like for example, if like due to my the choir director who I also work for as one of my work study jobs, I like this past summer I would have gotten an internship opportunity out in Iowa because of that if it weren't for everything that's been going on. But your professors are always going to be going above and beyond for you. doing everything they can to make sure every single student's succeeding. So it's definitely comforting to know that whenever you need any kind of assistance, you are more than likely going to be able to get it. But yeah, I see we have some more questions in the chat as well. So was it a big adjustment from high school, especially the work? Is there anyone who has any initial thoughts on that? Or I can speak on it too if no one else does.
I know for me, it is an adjustment, but you go from high school having like 8 classes a day to having only 4 classes, so you have less different types of work, but the work you have might take a little bit more time, but you have that extra time because you're only taking 4 classes, in my opinion. So it is an adjustment, but I don't think it's as bad as people put it out to think it is.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I do think that, at least from my high school experience, the reading that you do, like the amount of either textbook reading, articles, just websites that the teachers are telling you to go to and check out, those are not suggestions. Those are, you should do that. They will be on quizzes or they're going to be referenced during class. So as long as you like keep up with your schedule, I'm saying schedule again, but if you keep up and you keep track of the syllabus that they give you, the work is manageable. It is a lot if you wait till the very end. So don't necessarily procrastinate, but your teachers are going to be respectful of your time. They know what you can and can't do, and they're going to make it practical towards your major and towards what you're going to do after college. So the work feels worthwhile.
Coming from a high school that was, I think just about the same numbers as we have, I felt definitely, and this probably isn't very helpful, but the work is pretty much the same, at least for me. Like classes are again like longer, but they're more interactive, I would say. I feel like I'm learning a lot more in college than I would be in high school. So as far as like the work, it's more like fulfilling, I would say. So it wasn't like a super big adjustment to me. The adjustment really more came towards living on my own and figuring out things for myself. So yeah.
And then like another way, I guess, to talk about adjustment, like I come from a high school that my like graduating class was only like 70 people. So much smaller than my class sizes here, even though like SU isn't necessarily a big school. But it was an adjustment to get used to that bigger class, but it was actually like, I think it's a very healthy thing now because like when you're at a super small school, like everyone knows each other, almost like I feel like there's more drama. I feel like I don't see that as much here at all, just because even though there's such a nice sense of community among the students, like you just still get to know so many people. And like me personally, like I don't always like find myself hanging around with like a clique. Like I'll be like hanging out with like some friends I don't typically talk to, and then maybe we'll go get dinner or something like that. And it's just so nice to like have such a variety of people that you can like spend your time with, because there's so many great people here at this university. Whereas like, at least coming from a smaller school, you didn't always necessarily get to have that. And also in terms of like the adjustment of like the work, I could relate to Devonne a little bit about the like it not being too much different in terms of the actual work. I guess it would depend on your class. Some can be a little bit more demanding. I would say one thing is at least coming from my school as well, there weren't as many opportunities to get as involved in my high school, whereas at SU there's so many. So I feel like I like came in and I almost like overextended myself, and still something I am getting used to now, because it's so easy to just keep saying yes to all these things you want to do, and you have to learn your limits and learn when it's time to like say no to things. So it's a blessing and a curse to have so many things to get involved in, but it's nice to be able to like kind of teach yourself and like grow and learn what your personal limits are. But yeah, it's an adjustment, definitely not like unmanageable. And yeah, I see we have another question. What made you choose Susquehanna? So I'm sure each of us can probably give some kind of response for this too. Does anyone want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Gonna be honest, wasn't my first choice, but it was only because I was very stuck in my ways, and I went to an elementary school that had a lot of red brick, and I didn't like the red brick. But after one preview day, I came back. Another preview day, I came back again, And my third preview day, I just stood, I stood where the fountain is. I looked around and I was like, I think I'm really going to like it here. And then I eventually chose Susquehanna. But it was more than that. I got a recommendation from my babysitter's daughter. I went to the creative writing preview days as well, which really got me introduced to the whole creative writing process and what I could really excel at here, which is really nice. And then also, I just going back to what Tyler said, it's a very welcoming community. I love everyone here. Like I there's nobody that I can't wave to, and I love waving to people and smiling at people and laughing at people. That it just feels great. It feels like one big family, which is really, really nice. So yeah, it's very welcoming, and that's probably the biggest reason why I chose Susquehanna.
I'll go next. My college search started pretty early because I knew I wanted to be recruited for soccer. So I had done this whole very organized notebook strategy. I had all the D1, D2, and D3 schools that were in like a 5-hour radius, and I had them all listed out. And then I went through, figured out which ed major and ed departments I thought were good enough for what I wanted to do outside of college. And I just started doing tours. And when it's so cheesy and it's such a cliche, but like when I got on Susquehanna's campus, it just felt natural. Everything was so friendly. Everybody was here, I'll hold the door open for you, and waving, smiling, asking if I knew them, like just so welcomed. And it was almost overwhelming at first. And when I was going through other college tours, I couldn't get over the orange and maroon color. So a little bit like Devon's red bricks. I was just like, orange and maroon, like, I just don't know. But you come to love the orange and maroon to almost a fault, like orange and maroon, everything all the time. But when the athletics, the academic, and that social and just natural feel was all together, Susquehanna was, besides the colors at first, it became the number one choice. So it's hard to turn away such a good feeling, and that's why I chose Susquehanna.
So for me, I knew I wanted to study abroad, so the Go program here was like an absolute seller for me. And they make it so easy. I was thankfully able to go last fall and have a full semester. But they have like prep courses and reflection courses, and it made it so easy. They literally help you with every step. And and things transfer easily back because they're pre-approved. So just how easy, and they had so many options, is 100% what made me choose it. And also it is very welcoming. The first time I came to campus, I knew immediately like that's where I was going, and I did not feel that way when I went anywhere else. Yeah, so the Go program and just how welcoming it is why I chose it.
I love that we also got a little Go program plug in there too. That works well. At least for me personally, I actually came here first for the Choral Institute. It's like a singing camp over the summer. I didn't really come because I wanted to check out Susquehanna as a school, but I was just like, oh, it was like early in my college search, and I just wanted to like get to do something fun singing over the summer. And after my first day, I was like, crap, I really like it here. So it like took me a little bit to like, I had to like restrain myself looking at other schools, because like Susquehanna, like it immediately felt like home to me, because like you get to like work with the professors at the summer program, you get to work with current students, and you get to like live on campus, almost feel like what it's like to live as a student. And coming here and now being a student, it actually was fairly accurate, I guess I'd say. But yeah, and then I came for like a tour and all of that stuff. And I obviously checking out other schools, like there were other factors to put into play, but I just always knew that like none of the other schools had the sense of community that I felt at Susquehanna, and it just felt so welcoming, as everyone's been saying, and I just immediately felt like home. It just kind of clicked. So yeah, at least that's how it was for me too. That was actually coincidentally our next question was, why did you choose Susquehanna? So yeah, another thing at Susquehanna that is a big thing here is our student to alumni relationships. I know we have so many ways to like get connected with alumni, whether it be through Greek life or through our big like breakthrough event that's through the Career Development Center. So do any of you have any experiences getting the opportunity to connect with alumni that were impactful or that you'd like to kind of share about?
I could talk about this. So I have gone to pretty much all of the breakthrough events just to meet with different people in business because there's so many different options that you could do that like meeting people in different fields is helpful. But also I interviewed for like a full-time position a few weeks ago, and one of the guys I interviewed with was a Susquehanna alumni. Um, so that was very helpful, and I'm 90% sure that is why I got offered a position, is because it was from someone from Susquehanna. And they know like the level of education we get here, and they're very supportive of the students that are still here. Um, and then just going along with that with the alumni, as I said earlier, for the River Hawk Fund, like they want to help us, like they're giving you so much just to see you like thrive in college and after. So I've had nothing but good experiences with our alumni.
I had an alumni experience that was the most memorable for me. It wasn't even on campus. I was wearing a Susquehanna t-shirt and I was at Target and a lady stopped me and we had this whole conversation and she wanted to know what campus was like. And then she asked me what I was studying and I said that I was an ed major and she was coincidentally an ed major as well. And she gave me contact information to a nursery school, which is just a preschool. And I'm actually doing an internship there now. I'm doing remote learning, and I reached out to the director of the nursery school, and I'm going there for Fridays as for student internship hours. So it's just funny. The people, it's a small school. There's a lot of people that you'll just randomly bump into who go here.
I wish I had a cool story, but I don't. Um, I mean, I guess a lot of my friends have graduated now, and I guess they've technically turned into alumni. So I mean, hanging out with them and knowing that they still kind of represent Susquehanna in some sort of fashion really is kind of nice to see. And again, going back to what Rachel said, there are a lot of people that you will see that are from Susquehanna, and it's good to like reconnect with them and to show that we're like from the same boat, and you know how much education you get from here, how much knowledge you learn from here, and how you take it to an alum. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I know for me, like, there's so many cool opportunities to get involved, whether it be through Breakthrough or like, I know we're even having like in the theater department, we're having an alumni come back to like direct one of our shows next semester. So there's always those kind of connections happening in different areas all over campus all the time. So this is more of a fun question that I just thought of. What is either your favorite thing or favorite place or both to eat on campus in terms of the food? I know I like the chocolate muffins a lot. That's one of my favorite things.
Oh, I was gonna say scholarly grounds for all of the sweet treats. I love the yogurt bowls and this just like make your own smoothies at scholarly grounds. It's one of the things that I miss most about remote learning this year. And food is usually not what college kids would say that they miss the most about their school, but that's what I miss.
I would say my favorite places are L's for their sandwiches because they're always really good. But now that we have bento sushi, I go there probably way too often, but it is very good.
Gotta say, sushi is really, really good. So I also have to say bento. And like it's also good that they also have like a grab and go section at Hawks too, because I just grab it and I go.
Yeah, I definitely like L's and scholarly grounds a lot too. They're like some of the places obviously have like slightly different menus just to like make things like super fast paced this semester. That way like people don't like build up in certain like eating areas. And like you'd think that make the food worse, but like I swear like the sandwiches at L's have gotten me like even better. And I go there like every day for like the exact same sandwich. Obviously, like if you want to try different things, there's tons of different options too, especially at the Hawks Nest in our Dickinson Campus Center. You can get like so many like customizable options and stuff like that. It's almost like a Wawa Sheets kind of deal. So like lots of made to order options. So there's so many different things you can get on campus, but Yeah, those are some of my favorite places too. But yeah, and also if you guys don't forget, if you want to add any other questions in the chat, feel free. Literally anything you can feel free to ask us. But yeah, I think this would be a good question to ask. So obviously we're living through some interesting times right now in the world. So what have your experiences been so far, essentially since everything shut down last semester? So it could be, how was remote learning from home last semester? Or what has it been like so far this semester? Do you have a lot of online stuff? Do you feel like campus is like safe? How SU has like handled everything? I personally feel that everything has been done very well. In the spring, I always felt like the university was being very communicative, and I at least never felt like I was being like left in the dust with what was happening. I know one very good thing that I don't know if other universities were as good with is the fact that like pretty much as soon as everything shut down, it wasn't too long before we got like our room and board refunded from the rest of the semester. Because I know that didn't necessarily happen at some other places. But yeah, at least that's some of what I've thought. And like as a music and theater person, I was very nervous thinking of just having to go remote, not even necessarily because of Susquehanna, just because of the majors themselves. Like, how are you supposed to do that online? But I really didn't feel like I was missing that much. I hate to say that. But like the professors worked so hard to still give us the best possible education they could. But yeah, do you guys have anything that your personal experiences were like relating to any of that? Caroline, do you want to go?
I was gonna let Rachel go, but I'll go. So I had not a single problem with remote learning last semester nor this semester. My professors, I was really worried about education because you usually do most of your lesson plans towards the back half of the semester, and with the back half being all at home, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but my teachers were amazing and adapted curriculum right away. The syllabus was changing with new deadlines, so it wasn't like you were going to be doing things that didn't make sense because of that extended spring break. And it just goes to show they understand you still. And then my finals were all still lesson plans, but they were online lesson plans using online manipulatives and having you do interactive Google Slides. And it's scary to think that you might need to have these skills. You don't know what it's going to look like in a couple years after we graduate, but it's great just to have them as like a backup just in case. And it was hard to learn them because you started learning all these in-person and hands-on tools, but it was really great to see what you can do online to still teach kids effectively without it seeing like it was wasting their time or anything. And your professors showed you that that was the case, that they were still going to get content through to you. And I felt like I learned just as much as I would have in the class because just of their energy level and dedication to teaching us. So it was a good experience despite everything.
So I'll talk about a little bit like on semester or on campus this semester. As much as like there are things that are different, and like I have one class that's completely online, but the rest that it's like a hybrid version. So I go in some days and it's online some days. So as much as things are different, I'm still able to talk to my professors just as much, and we still do group work, but just online. So I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything by things being online. Like I still feel like I'm getting the same education. And even like I'm taking my capstone class this semester, and that's what's online. But I am still learning as much. I'm still doing as much as anybody else would be. So like I'm still getting the same skills. So I personally am having a really good experience with it, and I think Susquehanna is doing it as best as they possibly could.
I guess I kind of just have to agree with Rachel. I was mostly home until I came back for my SCA training in August. And being at home and doing remote learning was really kind of tough, just given my whole familial situation. But coming back here and feeling feeling alive again, feeling like I'm part of something instead of being at home and not feeling I'm part of something was really nice. So coming back here, being able to be involved with with residence life and making sure that residents are safe and valued, and we're checking on them and their mental state when things eventually do go awry. It's been a nice time. It's been very cool. As far as classes go, my classes are also hybrid. Two of them actually just went full online as well. So kind of just managing that as well. It's not super tough, but it's something to get used to, and it might be the new normal for a while. So it just has to take some time.
Yeah, and I feel like Susquehanna has done such a great job of having so many different plans in place for like when things do occur. If it would, we're doing like wastewater tests in the residence halls and stuff like that, random testing for students. That way, we're making sure that they are doing the best they can to make sure they're doing like what is it called, contact tracing, all of that kind of stuff. And like a funny thing is that I think is actually kind of sweet is they had one of the residence halls, like one of the floors, had ended up having to quarantine. And my one good friend, it was her birthday, unfortunately, when she had to quarantine. But our Office of Student Life, they actually like brought her own little cake for her birthday. So like even though she had to like quarantine, and you would think it would have been like the most awful day, just I feel like little stuff like that, like like everyone at the university is just so thoughtful, and I just thought that was an embodiment of like what Susquehanna is. So that just made me happy. But yeah, does anyone in the chat have any other questions? Or do you guys, Rachel, Caroline, or Devon, have any questions or anything about Susquehanna you're super passionate about that you think you want other people to know? I know one thing I was thinking about is obviously with our school like having a liberal arts education and having to do some things outside of your direct major, have you had any like classes that have been like almost like shockingly enjoyable? You wouldn't expect them to be because they're like outside of your major, but that aren't in your major and you've just had a very enjoyable time in?
I took Faith and Values for one of my central curriculum classes, and it's actually very fun and thought-provoking because the whole class pretty much is just like you talking and about your opinions on certain subjects with other people. And people are very open to discussion, so I think that's what made it fun. Like no one was closed off to someone's opinion. So it's very outside of my major, but I liked that class a lot.
Caroline or Devon, did you have any? If not, that's totally fine too. I can share a little bit about mine too. I had like a literature studies class that I took in the spring of my first year, and like I've never been much of a reader per se, but like we had such good like discussions in the class. Like even though it was like one of my bigger classes, like the professor did a good job of like always like making sure everyone was like included in discussion and always felt comfortable. And we like I don't know, it made me want to read more in a shocking way. But yeah, it was always like one of the highlights of my day, even though I didn't necessarily expect it to be, like when I had to like sign up for it in my registration for courses and that kind of stuff.
I just wanted like similar to yours, I would say writing and thinking, but I don't know if that's cheating a little bit because I'm a creative writing major, so it's kind of in the name. But yeah, like I was saying, like that class had a lot of great discussions in it, and I got to tie in my nonfiction class that I was taking at the time in it as well. So it's really nice. But I haven't taken a lot of my outside classes yet because my communications and creative writing majors are kind of locked in. Like it's hard to take extra classes outside of those. So I'm just getting my major classes out of the way before hitting those gen eds.
I know we have some more questions in the chat as well. So, do most students stay on campus on the weekends? From my personal experience, I would say most, yes. I know like at some schools, you'll hear of them having like this like for something like rush where it's like all your students after their classes are over, it's like speeding home. Definitely not the case here at all whatsoever, at least from what I've experienced. Um, I live an hour away, which is nice because like if I ever need to go home, it's not too far, but I rarely do. And there's always different stuff to do on the weekends, whether it be on campus or off campus. We have like a campus entertainment center called Trax. They're always hosting like tons of super fun events. They've hosted like escape rooms, which are actually doing virtual right now to kind of substitute for with everything going on. They also do like a beach party every spring through one of the fraternities. It's like kind of fun because like it's spring and it's like freezing cold out, but everyone dresses up in like Hawaiian beach gear and they go have like a dance party. That's always super fun. But yeah, do you guys have any thing you want to add about just what life is like on campus on the weekends, or what it's like with other people going home?
Yeah, I'll add something. So I'm usually here on the weekends regardless because I'll have soccer games or swim meets, but it's really nice because people are here on the weekends. So they either come out to support your athletic games, or as Tyler was mentioning about tracks, our Office of Leadership and Engagement will send out an email every Thursday evening called The Weekender, which is an amazing resource because you can know exactly what's going on, what time and where. Everything is going on campus or just slightly off campus. There are shuttle buses if you want to get off campus and don't have a car, and those will take you to what we call the Strip, which has like Target, Walmart, and a bunch of different eateries. So that's really great. But people are here on campus. We're not a suitcase school. And it's just nice because it builds to our community, whether you're involved in athletics or not. I like having people in the stands that are friends and whatnot. But Devon, I'll let you say something.
No, I was just gonna say I love getting that weekender email every single week, every single weekend, because it's great to read.
I know another fun thing that our one organization on campus called Charlie's Coffee House. It's right next to the Hawks Nest. They always have a thing every Sunday night called like Sunday Sundays, where it's like a big free Sunday bar while supplies lasts. I have one club that like meets during that time, so I'm always like bummed because I'm like, oh, I want to go to Sunday Sundays, and I'm like, wait, I have that, so I can't. Dang it. But I know that's always a fun event that happens too that I was just reminded of. Another question was, did you have an admissions interview? I personally did not. Have any of you? And maybe Ruben could talk more about this too, just like what that process looks like or feels like.
I did an interview on campus. I did it after an overnight. It was suggested to me by my soccer coach. I did an interview at each college that I toured at. So that was just something that I was doing as part of the admissions process. I do think that it helps benefit your application and financial scholarship chances because they know you not from just like what's on paper, but they have a face to directly go of what you say you do. And then you talk about it. And if you show that excitement, it definitely does not hurt to have an interview.
Awesome. I'm glad that you had, Ruben, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, I think Caroline pretty much nailed it. But what's nice about the interview too is if you've done like some of these student panels, if you've done one of our virtual info sessions and you're ready to kind of dig into something that's a little more personally applicable to just you and your situation, the interview is a really great place to do that. We don't require interviews for the admission process at Susquehanna, but we do recommend them.
Thank you. And then one more is, did you find it easy to make friends and find your people? As far, like I kind of said it a little bit already, as far as finding your people, like you guys might relate to this too, like where you don't necessarily always find yourself in a clique. But in terms of making friends, I personally didn't even feel like it was like a process that I had to be worried about just because of how easy, like especially the orientation program makes it. And like, I still meet new people every day. Like, we just had our auditions for that a cappella group I keep talking about. Like just like right before this, and I got to meet like so many cool people through that. I was at L's the other day eating, and like I ended up like talking to two people I had never met prior to that day. So not even just during orientation is it easy. Like you're gonna be meeting new people consistently all the time through different organizations. Sorry, just being on campus. But yeah, do you guys have anything you want to add to that at all?
I would kind of just agree. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, kind of agreeing. Like, I feel like I've never stopped making friends here. Like, there's always somebody new to talk to. And yeah, there's not like one group that you're going to hang out with. Like you're going to meet one person and then you're going to meet another person through them, and like you're just going to keep making friends. So I don't think it's a hard thing to do here as long as you put yourself out there.
I was gonna say, and my story is kind of similar to Tyler's. I joined a club. I joined the ASL club. I immediately found friends. They were so welcoming. They were so nice. They literally were just begging me to hang out with them, and it was a whole house full of ASL people that wanted me to hang out with them. So it was easy just find people that wanted to hang out and be friends with. So you'll find it very, very fast, especially if you join clubs, join organizations, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you put yourself out there to meet friends, even if it's just sitting in the common room with your laptop and you're attempting to do homework, but you're going to end up talking to somebody. I know when I first came to campus my first year at Susquehanna, I did try and like latch on to like the first group of people that I met. And I would recommend anyone going into their first year at campus to not try and stay in a group that's like just a couple of people you met at orientation week, but to keep branching out. I'm happy now I have like my soccer girlfriends, my swim girlfriends, all the people in my ed major, Tyler in the student ambassador group, and just there's more people than the people you meet that first week. And it's nice to have those people as like your first people that you met and the memories and everything, but don't be afraid to be more intertwined with other groups on campus, even if it's out of your comfort zone a little bit. That's healthy.
Thank you, everyone. If there's no other questions, I know we'll be wrapping up shortly, so I'll give just a minute in case anyone thinks of anything last second. Is there anything anyone else wants to add at all about why Susquehanna is so amazing and how we should all come here? Thank you, Kate. We're glad you could all join us today. Yay, we're glad that this is helpful. Well, if there's no other questions, I think we should be all good for the night. Thank you, everyone. I'm so glad our panelists and that all of our attendees were able to join us. But yeah, I think it would be good if all the panelists we want to like put our emails in the chat in case anyone would want to like reach out if they would have any other questions. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much, everyone, and stay safe and have a good rest of your night. I'll just leave it on for a second so we can all put our emails in and everything.
For the student who's interested in education and studio art, I'm an ed major, studio art minor. So if you want to shoot me an email, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to talk to you more personally if that's something you're interested in.
Is there anything you wanted to add, Ruben?
Oh, no. I was just typing a little note to panelists, though. If you could make sure when you type your email in that you send it to all panelists and attendees. Because if you don't, then they're not going to be able to see it.
Oh, no.
But we sure do appreciate the four of you joining us tonight. It was really great to share this hour with you. I'm glad it was useful. It's always great for me, too. I love to just sit back and be able to listen to Susquehanna students talk because, you know, doing what I do for a living, I know pretty well what happens here, but it's good just to have these affirmations that the things that I say on a daily basis are actually true. So thank you for affirming that for me. And I think we can call it a night there. And panelists, thank you so much for your time. Attendees, thank you so much for joining us. And just know that we are also open for business on campus. So if you like what you're hearing tonight, you're welcome to come visit us in person. We have limited visits available 6 days a week, and we're doing that in a very safe and controlled way so that you can feel confident about coming to see our campus if you would like to do that. All right.
Everyone.
I think we can say good night, all. Thanks so much.